Let me introduce you to the electric debutante of 1966, the Fiat 124 Spider. Picture this. It's like Italy and America decided to collaborate on a car and ended up with a sleek, stylish masterpiece. With Pininfarina's Italian flair and Tom Chiarda's American ingenuity, they crafted a car that borrowed a bit of sass from the Corvette and a touch of finesse from the Rondine. This bad boy wasn't just eye candy. It was cutting edge with its 5-speed transmission, 4-wheel disc brakes, and a soft top that practically begged you to let your hair down and hit the road. And the best part, you didn't have to break the bank to own one. Fast forward to today, and you can still snag a vintage 124 Spider online for a steal. Just be prepared to put in some elbow grease and maybe around 10 grand. The 1966 Alfa Romeo Spider Duetto, the car that made Dustin Hoffman look cooler than a cucumber in The Graduate. It's like the Mona Lisa of automobiles, only with more horsepower and fewer enigmatic smiles. This bad boy's got a cult following, and it's no wonder why. It's like driving a tiny slice of Italian perfection, with its twin-cam engine purring like a contented cat, steering so precise it could thread a needle, brakes that'll stop you on a dime, or at least a nickel, and a chassis so finely tuned it could double as a ballerina. Even though it shared a price tag with the speed demon Jaguar E-Type, people couldn't resist its charms. They say it's the poor man's Ferrari, but who needs a prancing horse when you've got a roaring Spider Duetto? Imagine Colin Chapman, the brains behind Lotus, sitting down with a napkin and doodling the Lotus VII, probably while sipping his tea. This baby, born between 1957 and 1972, was like the sleek, minimalist cousin of sports cars, with only 2 seats and an open top, looking like it just shed its skin to be as light as possible. The Lotus VII was a hit, selling like hotcakes with over 2,500 units gone. It was the darling of clubman racers, strutting its stuff with a Ford 1,172cc engine and a close-ratio gearbox. The Motor Magazine put it through its paces, clocking it at 80.4 miles per hour, going 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. Not bad for a car that probably felt like driving a go-kart on steroids. And all this fun could be yours for the low, low price of 1,157 pounds, tax included. Bargain! Imagine this, 1969. You're tired of your old Dodge looking like a grandpa's cardigan. Enter the Dodge Charger. Basically, the muscle car glow-up you never knew you needed.
That was way too easy.
Forget the Corvette, this beast had a massive wheelbase, could seat your whole crew, and still looked like it could outrun a cheetah. With a longer wheelbase and more seats than its predecessor, it was like the family sedan decided to hit the gym and come out looking like a bodybuilder. The Charger wasn't just a looker, it was a speed demon too, going from 0 to 60 quicker than you could say, vroom. It even had room for both regular and drag tires, because why not? In short, it was the American dream on wheels. Fast, furious, and cooler than a polar bear's toenails. Back in 1960s Italy, the cops were feeling like they were stuck in the Stone Age while the criminals zoomed off into the sunset. So what's a police force to do? Easy. Upgrade to the Ferrari 250 GTE. Yep, you heard it right. The Italian police rolled up in style with these bad boys, ready to give those crooks a run for their money. With a rebuilt chassis and a shiny new V12 engine, this Ferrari could hit 120 miles per hour faster than you can say subscribe TTI. And let's talk comfort. Those vinyl interiors were cushier than a pile of spaghetti. Plus, it was a hit with the folks too, becoming one of Ferrari's best sellers despite costing more than a small villa. So, whether you were a cop chasing down baddies or just cruising the Italian countryside, the 250 GTE had you covered in style and speed. Imagine it's 1958 and General Motors is playing mad scientist with cars. Enter the GM Firebird 3, the wild child of the Motorama Firebirds. This bad boy didn't just turn heads, it made them spin like a roulette wheel. Powered by a GT305 Whirlfire engine, this baby spat out 225 horses, all controlled by a joystick. Because why settle for a boring old steering wheel? And let's talk style. With its double bubble canopy and fins sticking out like a peacock's feathers, it was the belle of the automotive ball. But here's the kicker. It was lighter than its siblings, yet it needed a second engine just to power all its fancy gadgets. Talk about high maintenance. Still, GM worked some magic to make it fuel efficient, proving that even in the 50s, they knew how to party while saving gas. Alright, buckle up for a wild ride back to 1958, where the Corvette C1 was the king of the road, making other cars look like they were stuck in reverse. This bad boy wasn't just a car, it was a legend in the making. With its sleek design and a speedometer that went all the way up to 160 miles per hour. It was like sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet. Plus, it had more gauges than a NASA control room. Oil, fuel, battery, you name it. This car monitored it like a paranoid parent. But the real kicker? That grab bar for the poor soul-riding shotgun, because when this Corvette hit the gas, you better believe it was like launching a rocket. 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds? That's faster than my morning coffee kicks in. No wonder Ford had to rethink their Thunderbird. When the Corvette C1 rolled into town, it was game over for everyone else. Alright, let's rewind to 1958 when the Corvette C1 was strutting its stuff like the prom queen of the streets. This car wasn't just fast, it was drop your jaw, spill your coffee fast. With a speedometer topping out at 160 miles per hour, you'd swear you were about to break the sound barrier. And those gauges on the dashboard? It's like the car was giving you a play-by-play of its own life story. Oil, fuel, battery, engine temperature. Talk about high maintenance. And to make sure your co-pilot didn't turn into a human hood ornament, there was even a grab bar. Basically, the 1958 Corvette was the ultimate hold my beer and watch this car. Step back to 1947, folks. World War II's in the rearview mirror, and America's revving up for some post-war fun. Enter the 1947 Cadillac Series 62, the bougiest boat on wheels. This land yacht screams luxury louder than a diva in a diamond tiara. Picture this: long, sleek lines that'd make a runway model jealous thanks to GM's snazzy new fastback design. You've got options too: drop-top convertible or classy sedan, take your pick. And what's inside? It's like sitting in a plush cloud. Soft seats, room for 5, and more legroom than a giraffe's stretch. They threw in fancy stuff like adjustable steering wheels and power windows. Under the hood, there is a roaring 5.7-liter V8 engine. Sure, it won't break any land speed records, but cruising at 80 to 100 miles per hour.
Time to take the
Let's talk about the 1958 Jaguar MK8, the car that's so fancy, it probably sips its tea with a pinky raised. It's got a wheelbase as long as a python and a windscreen so curved, it's practically flirting with the road. Want to tell the difference between models? Just check out the grille. It's like a fancy mustache for cars. And that chrome trim, it's like the car's wearing a sleek belt after a holiday feast. Under the hood, you've got more than 160 horses galloping away, propelling this beast to a top speed of 106 miles per hour. Impressive for a car its size. It's rarer than a unicorn, with only 6,300 ever made. But hey, if you're lucky enough to snag one, you're in for a ride that's got more class than a royal wedding.